Pollution. The global crisis threatening life on Earth. Introduction. Pollution is one of the most critical environmental challenges facing the world today. From the air we breathe to the water we drink and the land we cultivate, pollution contaminates every part of the natural environment. It is both a visible and invisible threat to human health, biodiversity, climate stability, and global sustainability. Over the last century, rapid industrialization, urbanization, population growth, and consumerism have accelerated the generation of pollutants, pushing ecosystems to the brink and threatening the quality of life for present and future generations. Despite decades of awareness, treaties, and environmental movements, pollution continues to worsen. The consequences are no longer localized, but global acid rain, ocean plastic islands, air pollution crossing borders, and carbon emissions driving climate change. With the stakes this high, understanding pollution, its types, causes, impacts, and possible remedies, not merely academic but existential. This essay explores pollution in depth, examining its origins, major forms, environmental and human impacts, and the collective action required to combat it. By the end, it will be evident that pollution is not just an environmental issue but a social, economic, and moral crisis that demands immediate and unified global response. 1. What is pollution? Pollution is the introduction of harmful or toxic substances into the natural environment in a way that causes adverse effects. These substances, known as pollutants, can be in the form of solids, liquids, or gases. Pollution may be natural, for example, volcanic eruptions, wildfires, or anthropogenic, caused by human activity. While natural pollution has existed for millennia, the overwhelming majority of today's environmental contamination stems from human actions. Unlike natural pollution, human-induced pollution is often persistent, cumulative, and extensive in its damage. Pollution affects air, water, soil, and even sound and light levels, making ecosystems uninhabitable for many forms of life. It can disrupt food chains, cause diseases, lead to species extinction, and affect global climate patterns. 2 types of pollution. There are several types of pollution, each with distinct causes, characteristics, and impacts. 2.1 Air pollution. Air pollution is the presence of harmful chemicals and particles in the atmosphere. These pollutants can be primary, directly emitted, e.g., CO. So PM 2.5, secondary, formed through chemical reactions in the atmosphere. For example, ozone causes, industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, burning fossil fuels, agricultural activities, construction and mining. Common pollutants: carbon monoxide, CO, sulfur dioxide, so nitrogen oxides, NOx, particulate matter, PM2. 5 and PM10, volatile organic compounds, VOX, health impacts, respiratory diseases, asthma, bronchitis, cardiovascular problems, neurological disorders, premature death. Air pollution is responsible for over 7 million deaths globally each year, according to the World Health Organization. 2.2 Water pollution. Water pollution occurs when harmful substances contaminate rivers, lakes, oceans, and groundwater. It affects drinking water, aquatic ecosystems, and food security. Sources: industrial waste, agricultural runoff, pesticides, fertilizers, sewage discharge, marine dumping, oil spills, plastic pollution. Effects: waterborne diseases, cholera, typhoid, disruption of marine life, bioaccumulation of toxins in the food chain, damage to coral reefs and coastal ecosystems. About aqualay systems. About 80% of the world's wastewater is discharged into water bodies without adequate treatment. 2.3 Soil pollution. Soil pollution is the degradation of the Earth's surface due to the presence of harmful chemicals. Causes: excessive use of pesticides and fertilizers, industrial waste dumping, oil leaks, deforestation, and erosion. Landfills and e-waste. Consequences: loss of soil fertility, contaminated food crops, reduced agricultural productivity. Threats to animal and human health. Soil is a vital resource for agriculture and its contamination jeopardizes food security and rural economies. 2.4 Noise pollution. Noise pollution is the presence of excessive or disturbing sound that negatively affects human or animal life. Sources: traffic, construction activities, loudspeakers and public events, industrial machinery, airplanes. Effects: hearing loss, sleep disturbance, increased stress levels, wildlife disruption. Noise pollution is often overlooked but has significant impacts on mental and physical health. 2.5 Light pollution. Light pollution refers to excessive or misdirected artificial light that disrupts natural darkness. Causes: urban lighting, billboards and neon signs, streetlights. Impacts: disruption of circadian rhythms, migration patterns. In birds, disorientation. In nocturnal animals, reduced visibility of stars, astronomy. Impact 2. 6 Thermal pollution. This involves a sudden increase or decrease in the temperature of natural water bodies due to human activity. Causes: discharge of heated water from power plants or factories, deforestation and loss of shade, urban runoff. Consequences: death of aquatic organisms, disruption of reproduction cycles, decrease in oxygen levels. 2. 7 Radioactive pollution caused by the release of radioactive substances into the environment. Radioactive pollution is rare but extremely hazardous. Sources: nuclear accidents, for example. Chernobyl, Fukushima, improper disposal of nuclear waste, mining of radioactive ores, dangers, genetic mutations, cancer, environmental contamination for thousands of years. 3. Major causes of pollution. 3.1 Industrialization. Factories and industrial plants release vast amounts of pollutants into the air, water, and soil. In developing nations, unregulated industries are major contributors to toxic waste. 3.2 Urbanization. Growing cities demand more energy, construction, transportation, and goods, each contributing to pollution. Urban sprawl leads to habitat destruction and increased waste generation. 3.3 Transportation. Fossil fuel-based transportation emits greenhouse gases, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. The explosion in vehicle use, especially in urban areas, is a major source of air pollution. 3.4 Agriculture. Agriculture is a significant source of water and soil pollution due to fertilizers, pesticides, and animal waste. It also contributes to methane emissions from livestock. 3.5 Waste mismanagement. Proper waste disposal, especially plastic and electronic waste, leads to land, water, and air contamination. Landfills release methane and leachate, harming nearby communities and ecosystems. 4. Impact of pollution on the environment. 4.1 Climate change. Pollution contributes directly to climate change, especially through greenhouse gas emissions such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These gases trap heat in the atmosphere, leading to global warming, melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and extreme weather. 4.2 Biodiversity loss. Toxic pollutants destroy habitats and poison ecosystems, leading to species decline or extinction. Coral reefs, amphibians, birds, and pollinators are especially vulnerable. 4.3 Ecosystem disruption. Pollution alters nutrient cycles, disrupts food chains, and creates dead zones, for example, Gulf of Mexico, where life cannot survive. 4.4 Acid rain. Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides from fossil fuel burning lead to acid rain, which damages forests, corrodes buildings, and acidifies water bodies. 5. Impact of pollution on human health. 5.1 Respiratory diseases. Air pollution causes asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and lung cancer. Fine particulate matter. PM 2.5 penetrates deep into the lungs and bloodstream. 5.2 Waterborne illnesses. Contaminated water causes diseases like cholera, diarrhea, and hepatitis. Lack of clean drinking water kills millions of children annually in poor nations. 5.3 Neurological disorders. Heavy metals like lead and mercury, found in water and food, impair brain development in children and lead to cognitive dysfunction. 5.4 Cancer and chronic illness. Long-term exposure Too carcinogenic pollutants increases the risk of various cancers and non-communicable diseases. 5.5. Mental health noise and light pollution contribute to stress, anxiety, sleep disorders, and reduced quality of life. 6. Pollution and the economy. Pollution imposes massive economic costs through healthcare expenses, lost labor, productivity, reduced agricultural yields, decline in tourism cleanup. Costs and environmental restoration according to the Lancet Commission on Pollution and Health. Pollution causes 9 million premature deaths annually and costs the global economy over $4.6 trillion per year. 7. Global efforts to combat pollution. 7.1. International agreements. Paris Agreement targets climate change through emission reduction. Kyoto Protocol aim to curb greenhouse gas emissions. Stockholm Convention bans persistent organic pollutants, POPs. Basel Convention regulates transboundary movement of hazardous waste. 7.2 Sustainable Development Goals. SDGs, SDG 6, Clean Water, SDG 11, Sustainable Cities, SDG 12, Responsible Consumption, and SDG 13, Climate Action, all emphasize pollution control. 8. Solutions and mitigation strategies. 8.1 Regulatory measures, strict emission standards for vehicles and industries. Bans on harmful substances, for example, lead. CFCs, pollution taxes and carbon pricing. Waste management laws and enforcement. 8. To technological innovation, renewable energy, solar, wind, hydroelectric and hydrogen vehicles, waste to energy conversion, biodegradable packaging. 8.3 Waste management and recycling. Reduce, reuse, recycle. 3 rupees, composting and organic farming. E-waste recycling programs, plastic bans and alternatives. 8. For public awareness and education, environmental education in schools, media campaigns, community cleanup,